Hello, my name's Fraser Brown. We run a small company in the Highlands, an engineering company, where one of the things we do is recondition Alco axles. We do Caravan axles where we re-rubber them, give them back a new life, and we also do a lot of motorhome axles, from the early ones with the square torsion bars up to maybe year 2000. Latterly they have fitted round torsion bars. We're probably the only people in Europe who can supply them off the shelf. Alco take about 6 weeks to supply one, so we have an advantage there. So these are the torsion bars. They're color coded, as you can see, left and right. They come in sets. There are 3 on each side, so this is a full set. You can buy one, which is a good get you home remedy if you're stuck in Spain with the back of your motorhome down a bit. You can stick one in, it'll get you home. Ideally you should fit 3 or even 6, because if one has broken, the other 2 are probably not far behind it. So a good idea is probably just to fit either 3 or 6. The set, when we sell them, they come with new screws, washers, etc. These are the seals we use. The Alco supply a lip seal. We believe these are probably better. They're a soft neoprene and we make them up ourselves. Once the neoprene seal is fitted, once the assembly is done, we wrap this round the joint, the open joint, pull it tight and use a spot of super glue to protect it. So that stops the weather getting into the seal and then into the bushes. So that's quite a good thing. We also supply bushes, which we machine. We buy them in and we machine them. We machine a groove in here so that the grease goes in through the hole and wraps right round and then squeezes out and lubricates the whole surface area within the bush. Alco, which Alco actually put a grease nipple in between the 2 bushes, so the bushes are probably about there inside the axle tube, and they put one grease nipple in the middle, and of course the axle is never properly lubricated all its life. I would also like to show you my remote greasing system. Lots of people don't grease their axle very much, if at all, and part of that reason, I suppose, is it means crawling underneath with a grease gun. We've made a system here where you can open a cupboard on the side of the vehicle and grease it remotely, so it can be done with your good clothes on 5 minutes before you go off on holiday, if you like. So first of all, this is the panel which we set in a cupboard on the side of the vehicle. That's piped. These pipes come with it, so the tubing goes from the back down to the axle. These are the fittings for going into the axle, which carry the pipe, so the pipe goes in there. And this is a drilling jig, so when you go to drill all these holes in the back of your cabinet, we use this drilling jig first. So we'll show you later how this all fits and how it works. The only tools you need are a drill, a 6.5mm drill bit, a 19mm hole saw, and a handful of cable ties, and that's then the job done. So that's all the parts, that's the kit, and we'll now show you how we take the old ones out and fit the new ones. We have to thank Mark Oman of Oman Mechanical Solutions for the use of his facilities and his time today. His 12-ton ramp is more than adequate for our 3.5-ton motorhome. He removes a lot of axles for us and refits them a couple of days later when we've worked our magic. The torsion bars are cleverly held in by roll pins which catch in a groove in the inner end of the bars. Only when the pins are taken out can the bars be removed. Another clever design. With the brake drum removed, 4 bolts are revealed which hold on the brake back plate and the bearing hub. No need to undo the flexi hoses or handbrake cables, so no need to bleed brakes. The clip for holding the handbrake probably looked good on the drawing board. It would not take a crystal ball to imagine what they would look like in 20 years' time. Designers should be made available to their customers after a few years to explain what was going on through their tiny minds when they dreamt up their latest abortion. With the inner end of the torsion bars released, we remove the 3 10mm bolts and 3 6mm socket head screws which secure the end of the bars to the trailing arm. You need a 15mm socket and a 5mm Allen key. There is never a job on a 20-year-old vehicle which doesn't involve a big hammer and an angle grinder. Don't be put off by the appearance of your shock absorber. If it takes a strong pull to extend it and push it back in, there's no need to change it. My pal John in Arpin, Texas says don't fix it if it ain't broke. The most important part of the dismantling process is measuring the height of the end of the trailing arm. It is vitally important that this measurement is noted for the reassembly. We are using our own Auto Trail Mohican for this film. The height is correct, so we can use the measurements for reassembly. If one side was 2 inches low before the work was started, then the arm would have to be set 2 inches lower on reassembly. I've used a spirit level to get a good base and measured up to the lower edge of the first hole. It doesn't matter what points you use as long as you remember. A light tap with a big hammer is much better than a big tap with a toffee hammer. We are now at a crossroads. The inspection of the bearing journals on the trailing arm dictate whether we carry on and finish the job or take the axle out for a full refurb. Fortunately, this axle has seen some grease in its 40,000 miles and the journals are good. We bought the motorhome from a retired engineer who was familiar with a grease gun. Usually at this age they need a lot of work. Some torsion bars stay in the axle and some come out with the arm. They are easy to remove. We made this pull hammer years ago and use it every day. The thread is 10mm by 1.5. These are the inner splined holes that take the end of the torsion bars. The outer seal is 20 years old and can't be reused. We could hammer these through with a punch, but this is safer. When the journals are good, the bushes are always good. This is an opportunity to fit grease nipples where they should have been in the first place, or to fit a remote greasing system to make maintenance quick and easy. 2 nipples are fitted on each side, 1 for each bush. The bushes are 80 mm long. We first measure inside the tube from the outer end to the nearest end of the bush. The position of the grease nipple or tube fitting is this distance plus 40 mm. Using a straight edge and square, it is easy to mark off the holes. For grease nipples, simply drill 5 mm and tap 6 mm. For remote greasing, drill 8.6 and tap 1/8 BSP. We're just going to use PTFE to seal this fitting. Goes round 3 times and stop. PATFE, for those that don't know, stands for plastic tape for engineers, or if you're more scientific, it's polytetrafluoride. And you just wrap it round same way as the thread screws in, or the opposite way I should say. Two, three. 3 turns for these small ones, and that's it. The old seal removed and a good coating of grease. The new seal is made of soft neoprene and fills the gap, sealing it off from dirt and weather. And now the reassembly. The most important part of the job is setting the height. After that, it's so easy, even a woman could do it. The torsion bars. Always start at the bottom. Tap the bar in gently until the grooves in the inner end align with the hole in the axle. A pair of young eyes is handy at this point, so I'm at a disadvantage here. Sometimes the third bar does not line up perfectly, so just push the arm down a little bit and tap it in. It's only slightly misaligned. This is how the roll pin works. Brakes and hubs being refitted. The hub is fitted, the threads on the pin and nut are good, so no need to change the nut as long as a good bit of the flange lines up with the grooves. Douglas is tightening the nut until the hub is too tight to turn. He then backs it off until it turns freely. The two fresh parts of the lock nut align with the grooves, so we have a good job. It may be a good idea to order new nuts in case we have a problem. Apart from the ramp, which has been a bonus for Bobby Nelson, our photographer, and for my old bones, we have done this work with the basic tools that most mechanically minded people have or can scrounge from a better equipped pal. Now we just have to finish off the remote greasing. A lot of owners keep a half-size grease gun in the cupboard beside the grease nipple panel. The tubes are fitted and the olives tightened. The grease nipple panel is going in the bottom of the tool cupboard. Pumping grease through the length of the tube and reconnecting it to the axle. I was embarrassed by these wheels, so since making this film the wheels and spare wheel carrier have been blasted and painted by young Harry.